Hey all, welcome to this week's favorite collection here at the CIOPCC. If you've been paying attention the last few weeks, we've been doing updated versions of the videos of each section of the building. The building is split into 12 sections, 11 around the outside that are colored different colors that run with, the theme of whatever happens to be in that section, plus the middle of the building. That's number 12. So today we're going to walk the longest way possible to get to the section we're going to be looking at. We're looking at the gray section. It says Batman. Now, it was the very first section I built out when I started building the interior of the building. And it was supposed to be just Batman. There is a little bit of DC other characters in it. It's the red section here to my right that you can see. That's going to be more DC. Although it still has a lot of Batman because that is my main theme in DC. Now, we'll start here at the corner. A couple of the big 36-inch Batman and Superman figures. Down there at their feet, they have some die-cast vehicles. There's a Batman sippy cup. Up above, for those of you who remember the Warner Brothers store, we have the animated wall hangers. Some DC characters there, along with the Batman ones, between the gray and the red. And across this top shelf, remember these top shelves are 22 inches tall. So they're great for large statues and busts. Quarter scale figures. Here we have the Tweederhead 1966 Batman statues. This is one of my very favorite collections. I am complete on all of these. They are my favorite collection of statues. Sadly, that is as many as they did, but they did do a fantastic job with these. Never really expected to get that many. Those are the signature series. They talked about doing a Commissioner or Alfred to go with that Batman and Robin with another piece of the Batcave, but unfortunately it never came to pass. Down this way we have animated Batman, the Catwoman there. That's the Pfeiffer Catwoman. That is another Tweederhead statue. Excellent work. I love the Batman fighting Killer Croc. The Killing Joker there. We'll see another version of that. They actually did two versions of that statue, Kotobukiya. And over here we have. These are more wall hangers, but this time they're called Gotham Stories. They're like hanging out of a window. DC directed those. They only did those 4. This shelf has one of my favorite collections of busts. These are done by Diamond Select on the animated DC properties. Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series. You get the drift. This is a terrific series of busts. They are still fairly reasonably priced. Some of them are gotten, a little expensive these days. But it's nice to have a collection like this that you can actually complete. It's all done. You're not going to see any more of them being produced. And most of them are still pretty available. So if you're looking for something in the DC animated world to start collecting, I might suggest these. I'll go down across the bottom and show you the rest of them. But here at the end, we start some of the Batman black and white statues. McFarlane has continued these since DC Collectibles is no more. DC Collectibles was actually what DC Direct became. Did a name change there at one point. Now we'll finish these off across the bottom here. Like I said, this is a complete set. There's not like so many that you can't pick them all up. And there's only a handful of them that are really getting super expensive these days. Quality's pretty good. They aren't, what you're going to get from Gentle Giant, but for an animated series, I think they did really nice. Down here we have the Batman black and white stuff. As I said, this is a complete collection. Now you'll notice I don't have every edition. Notice there with the Mignola, there's a first edition and second edition. They did that occasionally. It was their excuse to do a re-release of one of the busts, or statues rather. They would re-release it in a new grayscale color scheme. I didn't pick up all of those. I did pick them up occasionally like that one. There's a couple others I picked up where I really liked the change in the grayscale that they did. But I didn't really consider those necessary to have a complete collection. I wanted to have one of every of the different artists that they produced. They also did some of these busts, or keep calling them busts. They also did some of these statues in other colors, some for the Japanese market. I didn't pick those up either. Again, they're not really Batman black and white if they're in color. McFarlane has continued this line, and we've gotten a few from him. We have one more, I think, right now that they've solicited that we're still waiting to have ship. I don't know how much further they're going to go with that line. If they do go much further, though, I'm going to have a hard time finding a place to display them. I'm going to have to rethink some of the layout of these shelves. And while it is, of course, Batman black and white, and it highlighted the various artists who have worked on Batman over the years, there are also a few of them you'll see where they did, in later years, dip into some of the other characters. There's Batgirl, of course, as well as some of the villains. You knew they weren't going to avoid doing some Jokers. And of course, they had to add Harley in there as well. This is the kind of line where you pick up one of them, like of your favorite artist, and then the next thing you know, you've picked up 2 or 3. And when they really look good is when you've got a whole bunch of them together, highlighting all those years, those decades of art styles around the character. Makes it pretty funny when somebody complains about a new Batman suit, doesn't it? So on the bottom shelf down here, we have some odds and ends. So this shelf, we've got, you know, all kinds of different goodies from different companies. A couple of those statues in back, that Joker and Harley, those are Kotobukiya. And those are some of the reaction figures from Funko for the '66 Batman show, including the Batmobile they did. I love Batmobiles. You'll always see a lot of those around. There's a Charlie Flat Batman and Riddler. Those of you who know, remember Charlie Flat. A couple of his customs. Some more vintage stuff in back there, like the clock and those squeezy toys of Batman and Robin. And down on this end, we have another complete collection. This time, also Diamond Select busts, but this time from the '66 Batman. In front, those are banks. But in back, those are regular busts. And we finish up over here at those busts with Dick Gordon. On the floor, you know, some odd things. Some Converse high tops. Hey, when it comes to Batman, like The Simpsons, those are the 2 licenses where I tend to buy weird stuff. It's a license that used for lots of different things, and I tend to pick up lots of different things. There we have some of the Mattel figures, some of the 12-inch stuff that was part of the DC Universe Classics, some vintage items. And we finish up over here with one of my favorite Killer Crocs. Oh, as well as Batman, of course. That's the large-scale Batman. It's another one of those great WB items. So, in front of that wall section, which that's about 12 feet of shelf space, we have the tower. This is the largest tower. After I built this one, I decided I wasn't going to build any more. This big. It is 3 foot by 8 foot, so each one of those shelves is 24 square feet of display space. Let's start up at the top and look at the statues that are up there. These are going to be DC Bombshells. This was a pretty simple concept. Remember the old artwork that was on bomber airplanes during World War II? They took that concept, they combined it with the basic idea of a particular DC character, villain or hero, and created a concept around that. And most of the time, I think they did a really terrific job matching up the characters with the style. You'll see the rest of them on the other side. That's another line that I'm complete with. In case I forget, there's Mondo's animated Man-Bat. I tend to forget about him because he's up there on the ceiling. We're on this side, we have some Batgirls, some Catwoman. Some of these are the DC covers, cover girls. There's that other Killing Joker I mentioned. And then we finish up on this side with the rest of these Bombshells. That one there, Killer Frost, that's one of the rarer ones. And on the end, as I said before, we come back down around here to the end. So let's come down another shelf and we'll see some maquettes. You remember those of us who loved the old WB store, they did all kinds of these cool maquettes of different characters, both animated and comic book related. That was during my heyday of statue collecting. There's a few of them I still need to pick up in some of those series. There's some here that are the Diamond Select did, including these Batman 66 statues. Those are certainly not as nice as the Tweeterhead stuff, but they're not bad. Got some animated from the WB store. That Batgirl, that was a custom I had produced, specifically to go with the other Warner Brothers store statues. And on this end is a kind of a Harley end, Harley side, with some different Harlequin looks. And around this side, we'll see some. There's another Kotobukiya, that one in back with Batman beating up Joker. Hot Toys, those are the two of the busts from Hot Toys of Batman and Joker from the Nolan films. Legendary scale busts, those are really cool if you haven't picked up any of those. I've got a few. Now let's step down and talk about Hot Toys. We're going to get into some of the Hot Toys figures. First couple there. That Morgan Freeman Lucius Fox there in the back, that is a third-party figure. I don't buy too many third-party figures, but occasionally they're just too good to pass up, and that was one of those examples. He's not the only Lucius Fox I have, though. There's Alfred there, of course. Now, some Wonder Women slip over here with Batman. Didn't really have a good place to put these, so they ended up over here. There's another Lucius Fox. I love this Catwoman. Hot Toys did a really nice job with that in the Bat Pod. They've done plenty of Batman over the years. Around the Nolan movies, here we have Joker and Batman in the interrogation room. A few more of theirs. One in back, there's one of the armored ones. And then, of course, here behind these various versions of Joker, we have the tumbler from Hot Toys. Nice thing about these big shells, the reason I did build them on this first pass is because I had both that Batmobile and this one that I needed to have display space for. This is the Hot Toys Batman Returns, or at least the Burton Batman. The two Hot Toys 66 Batman go terrific with the Mars Toys Joker, and they're going to be doing some more. Mars Toys is doing a beautiful job with some of this stuff. Over here, you'll see another one of theirs on the other side of these two Batman, Michael Keaton Batman. Here we have the Alfred by Mars Toys, which I think they just did another terrific job with that. This is the Hot Toys Nicholson Joker, which is one of my all-time favorite 6-scale figures in my... I have about 1,500 6-scale figures altogether in my collection. That might be my favorite. Now we're going to get into some of these Suicide Squad and more modern Jokers and Harleys, along with Will Smith and the Killer Shark, or the Shark. Mondo. I showed the Batman Man-Bat a second ago from Mondo. Here we have some of the others. Beautiful work on these two. I know that some people have had trouble keeping them standing. I don't have any trouble with Phantasm there. You see it's standing just fine. No need for the stand. Catwoman is a little dicey. She's kind of holding on to the pole there. And the Batman, the three that they've done so far, they're always going to be tricky to keep standing because, of course, they have those itty-bitty feet. I mean, come on, look at that. He's got itty-bitty feet. What do you expect? He's going to have a hard time standing up. These two are from Hot Toys from the Arkham Asylum game. I like when they do some unusual versions of Batman and Joker. And Sideshow has also done some really cool 6-scale DC characters. Now that's a Mego Magnetic Hands Batman. Deadpool is not a DC character, and yet he's playing over here. Come on, let's face it. He's just sneaking over here to be with everybody else. That Lobo is a terrific figure. That's one of my favorites that Sideshow's done out of this sort of comic book line. Along with this Harley, she's pretty good too. Now we come down here. This Joker, this is the other Nicholson Joker. And we've got Superman. Past and present, or past and more recent. What I love about the Reeve Superman is we get the evil version. See, he's got what appears to be the need to shave. And then we've got the good guy version. The Fortress of Solitude. Let's go down another shelf and we'll see a lot of the DC Direct 13-inch DC characters. I don't love this line, and yet I have almost the entire thing. The reason I have almost the entire thing is that was just like came out during my collecting heyday when I was collecting a lot. This is a shelf that one of these days I may get rid of some of these. Some of them I won't. I love the Bizarro, for example. But I may get rid of some of them at some point. They're not at 13 inches or so. They were too big to really be classified as 6 scale, even though they tried. So, we'll see. I haven't quite decided about those guys yet. When I need the shelf space, they might be in trouble. Some more Supermen, including a Lex Luthor I bet you forgot about, from Mattel. And now we're going to start getting into the 66 Batman stuff. Both Mattel and McFarlane have done a nice job with this. Mattel, I think, actually did a better job with their figures and vehicles because, like this Batmobile here, it's scaled better. Slightly larger than the McFarlane version. And the figures are a little more articulated. However, McFarlane has done a much better job of going deep with the characters. So we've gotten way more from them, including 3 play sets now. Lots of figures. And we're going to get some more from what we can tell. Those are a couple of Barbies. Then we come down around here and see we've gotten quite a few from McFarlane. A couple of them are McFarlane. That's NECA back there, the Batman. And next to him, that tall version of the Alfred, 7-inch scale, is one that DC Direct did. They gave you an Alfred, and they let you pick which head sculpt to use from different versions. And I used, of course, the one for the 66 show. This is the tumbler armor that came with the Hot Toys tumbler. Also got some artwork down here on the floor of a Batmobile. And some micro sets. There's a lot of storage under there. That's normally what I'm using the base for, is lots of storage. But I also can throw a few extra things down there on the bottom when I need to. So, there you have it. Oh, that is the Batman section. Gray section. That'll be our favorite collection for this week. When we get to the red section, that's going to be an extremely long one. That's a huge section. That and the Star Wars black and white section are the 2 largest sections in here. Until Friday when we do a acquisition report, make sure you subscribe, and I hope you have a great week.